Hello everyone and welcome to E3 2013. My name is Meagan Marie and I'm the Community and Communications Manager at Crystal Dynamics, but this week I'm going to keep you up to date with all things Square Enix in our very first ever broadcast program, Square Enix Presents. So throughout the week we're going to have a lot of awesome content for you. We're going to have trailers, demos, live interviews, behind the scenes content, and even giveaways. Really awesome giveaways, trust me. If you happen to be at the Los Angeles Convention Center, come by and find us at booth number 1647. I remember it because it's like Agent 47, but you know, the giant signs all over the theaters are a good giveaway too. So stop by and say hello, share your thoughts on recent announcements, gameplay impressions from our demos. But for those of you not able to make it out to the show, and I know that's a lot of you, we've actually got a lot to show behind the scenes in terms of booth tours and so on. Firstly, though, we're going to start with a pair of clips showcasing how the booth was built from the ground up. You're actually going to see it constructed in an off-site location. So now that you've seen the booth come together, I'm actually going to showcase some of the titles on the show floor in a quick tour of the polished and final presentation. All right, so we're going to start off on a nice and cheery note with Murdered. Murdered Soul Suspect is actually a new IP that's developed in tandem by Airtight Games and Square Enix, and it kind of goes under the premise that the hardest mystery to solve is, your own murder. So the main character, he's a detective. His name is Ronan O'Connor, and he gets caught up in this violent burglary and meets an untimely end, and he gets stuck in this limbo world called Dusk. And in order to escape from Dusk and meet his afterlife, he has to solve his murder. We're going to be giving a behind-the-scenes look at both the theater and some gameplay later in the week, but for now, Murdered Soul Suspect is set to release on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC in early 2014. All right, so next up, we have Deus Ex Human Revolution, the Director's Cut. The critically acclaimed game is back with a few augments of its own. As you can see, it's on the Wii U. It's tailored for play on the Wii U and has improvements with the visuals, overhauled boss fights, reinforced combat, and so on. It's considered the ultimate Human Revolution experience, and developer Eidos Montreal expects the Director's Cut to hit later this year. No exact date just yet, but we'll make sure to keep you informed. So we have another Deus Ex title here at the show. This one is Deus Ex The Fall. And The Fall is a standalone title for the iPad that takes place in the same universe as Human Revolution. But essentially, we're seeing what happens when you take the world out of the PC and out of the living room and onto a tablet. We've got an exclusive interview about The Fall on Thursday, so be sure to come back for that. The Fall is releasing soon for iOS. So the Saints are back in the limelight in Saints Row 4, and they're riding a wave of popularity all the way to the White House. The leader of the Saints is actually sitting pretty in the Oval Office. Now, despite doing things like ending the deficit and eliminating world hunger, the Saints haven't faced a challenge like the one that they're about to come up against, which is the arrival of the Zin Empire. Zinyak, the leader of the Zin, is probably going to regret his decision to take on the Saints immediately, as they're pretty much the most dangerous men and women in the world. Developed by Volition, Saints Row 4 will be available August 20 of this year. Okay, so you'll get to see the rest of the booth tour tomorrow with a heavy emphasis on Final Fantasy. We did not forget about them, I promise. The Thief Theater walkthrough actually slipped away from us, so we're going to try to fit it in a little bit later this week. But for now, we'll be back in a bit with our first program, which is a look at Saints Row 4. In the meantime, we're going to give you a look at the Final Fantasy XIV Battle Challenge live from the show floor. So let's go take a peek at